to watch
BaggedMilk. 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 Oh, I swear. Oh, BaggedMilk. BaggedMilk.
What a game last night. What a third period BaggedMilk. We were just talking about McDavid and his 6 assists last night. Pretty wild, eh?
Yeah, it's every time you think you've seen him do everything that there is to do, he goes and puts out a performance. First time, it's the second time he's got 6 points in a game, but the first time they've all been assists. So just a wild game last night against the Red Wings. I mean, the Oilers had 2 separate 2-goal leads. They blew them. It was 3-3 tied going into the third, and then 5 goals in the third period. It's a wild way to finish up.
Yeah, it was also his 600th assist of his career he got last night. To that point.
616 games played to get the 600 assists. He is an absolute stud in every sense of the word. But it's one of those ones where they show the graphic on screen, right? Connor McDavid, 600 assists in his 616th game, and you go, man, that's pretty awesome. And then they flash over a little bit to Wayne Gretzky being like 600 assists in 12 minutes, and you go, oh my God, how did this happen?
You know what's interesting about that is you bring up Gretzky, the Evander Kane. By the way, before we get into the record that he broke the other night, that 7th goal that Kane scored, the setup for McDavid, was just disgusting.
Oh, it's stupid.
He was on his knees. It was that. If you haven't seen the highlights, if you missed the third period like I did, and you haven't seen that, you got to go watch the third period highlights. Unbelievable. Evander Kane becomes the fastest player in Edmonton Oilers history to score 5 hat tricks. That really surprised me. Is that one of ththose stats where once it landed, everybody went, hold on, what? 130 for
100%.
Kane, 136 games for Gretzky. Yeah.
100%. Like, even just, he's had 10 career hat tricks total. 5 of them came in the, handful of seasons he's been with the Oilers. I mean, he's fit in really well here in terms of what he's produced. And I know some of the spreadsheet society, they don't necessarily like his underlying numbers, but the reality is Kane's been a streaky scorer since he's got here. And right now he's on a little bit of a heater. Picked up a goal last night. Like you said, that assist from McDavid was just ridiculous. He got the hat trick the other night for his 5th. And it's one of those stats where you go, really? Fastest to 5 hat tricks is Evander Kane, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the record thing, one more to throw out there is that when they play the Blues, the Oilers play the Blues tomorrow, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will tie Mark Messier for most games in an Oiler jersey.
Oh, get out of here.
So,
okay.
Yeah, he's got a stat there. Like on the list. I don't know what spot that is on the list, but...
Third.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Third.
Yeah,
behind Ryan Smith and Glenn Anderson. So Kevin Lowe, I should say. Our man he's grown up into a real live boy.
I still think of him as like a kid too.
Well, I like the fact that the Oilers signed him and started playing him when he was 9. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they really got behind him.
They took a chance. They went outside the board.
Yeah.
They grabbed a 9-year-old. They threw him on the roster, and he's still here.
worked.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really worked out.
Thoughts on Draisaitl, Kane, and Perry line? Oh my God, I love that line.
They are a menace, and I say that in the best possible way. I just think that, like, I always wonder what Leon thinks too, because he's not afraid to get in the mix and get into the shenanigans, but it's not often that he's with 2 guys on either side of him that not only do they like it, they love it. So Corey Perry, the first thing I noticed last night was the Oilers they were in a lull last night, and there's Corey Perry, the helmet's off, and he's in the mix, and he's grabbing people by the face, and he's grabbing them by the ears, and I go, yeah, that's Corey Perry, all right. He's been doing it for 2 decades. It's a lot more fun when he does it on our side than when he was doing it against the Oilers. But that line has been a lot of fun so far, and they are so annoying. And again, I say that in the best possible way.
I got tennis elbow because every time Knobs throws that line out, I get up and I do this.
You got it.
Yeah,
Sure.
My wife's like, sit down. I'm like, Draisaitl, Kane, and Perry are on.
Woo!
Go.
It's almost like something primal when they go out there, because there's the opportunity. 1, they could score a goal. They've done it a handful of times so far since they've been put together. Or 2, they're just going to go cause mayhem.
They
for both.
cause chaos the whole time they're out there, and sometimes it's not good chaos, but it's fun to watch. What a great line!
It's really fun to watch, and I mean, like, the reality is you need some of that in your lineup. The Oilers have always needed, some guys who were jerks on the ice, and now it's funny that they have two of them and they stuck them on the same line. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So they made some big news recently announcing the NHL's returning to the Olympics. Very excited about that. But they also, Bettman talked about this 2025 Four Nations face-off tournament. It's an in-season tournament. Is this kind of similar to like the NBA doing an in-season tournament? Is that what this is?
Well, personally, I don't know. I might be alone on this one because anytime I talk about it on podcasts or whatever, I get roasted because I think this four-team tournament is completely dumb. It is a money grab in the middle of the season. They're calling it a best on best, but how is it a best on best when there's only 4 teams playing?
Yeah.
You could put together, maybe Germany doesn't have enough players to compete in this, but you want Leon Draisaitl. So maybe put a Europe team in there or something like that.
And I know we're mad at Russia, but they still have some pretty great hockey players.
Well, the reality is it's hard to call it a best on best tournament when some of the best players on earth are not allowed to play. So it's one of those ones where it's not like the NBA, because at least those NBA tournament games, I found that weird too, but those actually counted for your season stats, those games that were within the NBA season tournament. This is just 2 weeks of fun and shenanigans for a handful of guys while everyone is off at Cabo. So I personally don't get it. I'm going to watch it, of course, because what else am I going to do at that point? But I just don't. I think it's kind of a cash grab, and that's fine. Like, go capitalism, I suppose. But I don't really understand the point.
Some of these things are done from the betting side of it. Like, right, we don't have enough to gamble on, so let's create another tournament.
Need more.
Yeah, we need more. We'll get into this, and I always. I'm leery about jumping into these sports donkey waters, but we should have a quick conversation about the trade deadline coming up, because Edmonton obviously is going to play an interesting role in a lot of conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also going to be interesting just to see what they're going to do. Last year, if you remember, when they picked up Matthias Ekholm, his name was kind of out there as like, wouldn't that be cool if the Oilers could find a way to get this guy? But no one actually thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm probably more patient than I have been after seeing Uncle Ken pull off a massive trade like that last year. So is there opportunity to do that again? I don't know. Like, if you look at where they're at currently, but they're going to have about $2.37 million at the cap, or under the cap at the deadline. So they can make a move here. And if they want to take a bigger swing, you're going to have to move some salary out. Is that, a lot of people have talked about, is it Cody Ceci? Is it Brett Kulak? Is it Warren Fogle? Those guys that are kind of in that middle.
Don't get rid of McLovin.
I personally wouldn't either, but I'm just reporting the news here, Locke. They're going to have to give to get a little bit. So we're curious to see what they do. Would they get another scoring winger to play alongside Leon Draisaitl? I know we just talked about that line being a lot of fun, but if you could get a Jake Gensel, a proven 40-goal scorer, and stick him alongside Leon Draisaitl, that might be fun too. Would they go get a defensive upgrade on, I know everybody picks on Cody Ceci. The poor guy just scored his first goal in 127 games last night. Deserves a little bit of love. But everybody's picking on Cody Ceci as the potential upgrade. So is that something they want to do? Are they going to go the route of looking for somebody in net? It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. We're less than a month out from the trade deadline. The Oilers have options. They have different needs. They don't have a whole lot of cap space, but they have more than they have had over the last couple of seasons. So it's going to be interesting. They've got holes to plug. It's just a matter of which ones they prioritize.
I think their needs sort of aren't as I think their options are outweighing their needs this year, though.
That is true. I would agree with that, and I think that's a nice little piece of leash to have.
Yeah,
it's not like they've got such a glaring hole this year as they have in the past, where they go, oh man, you got to get that. If it's up to me, it's a winger to play alongside Leon Draisaitl. It could be a third line center, or it could be a defensive upgrade. So those are the 3 holes that I personally see. But again, nobody's asking for my opinion, even though they should.
On nationgear.ca, you guys have a couple events coming up. Game day on the 24th and brunch for Ben. Can you give us some details?
Yeah, so on the 24th, that is at Greta downtown. We're going to be raising some money for free play for kids. It's a BOA. So why not have a watch party on a Saturday night? Get together, play a little vids, get a little silly, watch the boys go up against Calgary. It's always a great time when these two teams get together. So that one is raising some money for free play for kids. That's a Saturday night. That's the 24th of February down at Greta. And then on March 2nd, we're also doing the brunch for Ben. That's an afternoon game against Seattle. So we're doing an all ages kind of idea to raise to raise money for the Ben Stelter Foundation. So that one is going to be on March 2nd. The Stelters are going to be there as well. They're coming to hang out with us this year, so we're super excited about that. And it's going to be 2 great events where we raise a little bit of money for some charities and some worthy causes and get a little silly in the process. We love to do these watch parties, and thankfully our friends at Greta encourage us to do so. So February 24th, that's the first one. March 2nd is the second one, and both of those tickets are available at nationgear.ca.
Mark your calendars, get your tickets. Oilers Nation, BaggedMilk, thank you for your time.
Thank you, fellas.
The Locker Room for Arden Roof Systems. Weekday mornings on 95.7 Cruise FM.